Could go on and on, probably even days, about why Mr. Beavers deserves Louisiana Student Teacher of the Year, but I'm limited on time, so I'll just make it short. Mr. Beavers taught not only in the classroom, but out of the classroom, whether it was in the classroom about Beowulf in particular, or just lessons about life outside the classroom. He always pushed us to do our best, whether it was grades-wise, sports-wise, or just was there for us to just like a shoulder to cry on, or whatever we needed something. He was always there to give us advice, and everything he taught me I've taken into my college life, and it's helped me excel, whether it's writing papers or anything like that. And when I think of a good role model and a teacher, he's the first person that comes to mind, and I'm forever grateful for the impact he's had on my life, and so is my family.
It's been a long day. The bell's rung, the kids are gone, buses have departed, and I have basketball duty tonight, so I'm just going to stay up here and I'm going to work on this last little bit for this application process. In this video, I want to talk about why I teach and why, after nearly 15 years in the private sector, I decided that I wanted to make a career change. My major in, back up, let's go to junior high school. Junior high school, I had a very specific job I wanted to do. I wanted to be a sports writer. It was a thing that my father and I shared. It was a love of sports. It was one of the few things that we shared in common. It bound us, it bonded us together, gave us a common interest. And my father was always a big newspaper reader. It was a big deal to get the Sunday newspaper and go through everything like that. But, some of the selection committee may remember that. These kids, they have no idea what life was like before the internet. We talked about transcendentalism the other day, and I told them about the word transcendent, rising above, etc. And I talked about Michael Jackson and people like that, considered, referred to as transcendent. And I told them about back when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk for the first time at the Grammys. Everybody lost their minds. He was called transcendent. Point of this whole story is only had 3, 6, and 12. Fox wasn't even a network then. They couldn't comprehend that. So yes, newspapers are completely out of their realm of reality. And so I wanted to be a sports reporter. And I remember in junior high I wanted to do that. And I remember telling somebody on the way to a quiz bowl, like in 6th grade, 7th grade, something like that. I have a very fond memory. And it was a fellow student, and they said, "Oh, you ain't going to make anybody doing that." Well, probably pretty knowledgeable 7th grader. But anyway, I kept doing that, and I went away. I just liked to write. I was a very good writer. I'd won writing awards in high school, and I just enjoyed it. Went to college, eventually ended up majoring in journalism after some ups and downs and some dropping of majors and changing of majors. And long story short, too late, sorry. Long story short, ended up graduating, was editor of the college newspaper, assistant editor of the yearbook, all that kind of stuff.
Mr. Beavers is a great teacher, and he keeps his bonds with his students, and he is more than qualified for this honor. Hope y'all pick Mr. Beavers.
Mr. Beavers is one of the most influential people in my life. He taught me not only how to write a paper efficiently and how to get my point across, but he also told me how important it is to not conform to this world, to be true to myself, and I believe that's one of the greatest lessons a person could teach.
Hi, my name is Logan McIver. I'm a Lakeside graduate, class 2018. I had Mr. Beavers for 2 years of English. Mr. Beavers was by far my favorite teacher in my high school experience. He taught me what it was to actually love reading and writing and how to push myself to be better even when I didn't want to.
One of my favorite teachers, not just because of his legendary teaching skills, because how passionate he was when he came into the classroom and how motivated he was to enlighten us and inspire the youth. And his teaching skills were just innovative and kept us attentive to what he was teaching.
And so I got a job working in Monroe, West Monroe, moved over here. My wife got a job working with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So we moved over here to Minden, which is halfway, right outside of Shreveport. And I worked for the newspaper, the Spec newspaper group, which was, I think we ended up, there were like 5 newspapers, some in Alabama, Florida, and then 2 in Louisiana. Also had a print shop. And I was a reporter there, moved very quickly up to editor because they realized that I could talk well. I was a good salesman. And I eventually, very quickly, became publisher of the newspaper. I was the youngest youngest daily newspaper publisher in Louisiana. I was 23 years old, managing running all the operations of a daily newspaper. Did that for a long time. I eventually was made the vice president of the company, overseeing everything that goes into it. And I really hated it. I mean, good Lord, I hated that job. I basically started hating that job after I had been doing it. No, I'm talking about period, hating the job, period. Like if I started it in January of 2002, I started hating it in April of 2002 because that's when I was bumped up to be editor. And you may think, good Lord, meteoric rise. Well, small newspapers and also, I believe, newspapers were starting to hit that decline even in 2002. And I really basically started hating it 3 months after I did it. I loved the writing. Absolutely loved it. I was so happy when I was just able to go out and tell the story and put the pieces together. And because that's all writing is. It's like a formula. And if you're not good at it, you just follow the formula of how to do it. And I teach that to my students. But neither here nor there. And after hating this job for nearly 15 years, I finally took a chance.
Is by far the most amazing teacher I had throughout my high school year. He lit up the room every time he walked into it. He always had a smile on his face. He never complained about anything. I think if we could all be like Mr. Beavers, this world would be a much better place.
I'm so happy that I had the opportunity to take Mr. Beavers in high school. He really is such an excellent teacher and he cares so much about his students. I learned so much from him and really don't think I'd be where I am today in law school without him. I know he's going to continue to influence the lives of so many students as he has them throughout the years. All I can say is thank you, Mr. Beavers. I really do appreciate you so much.
Beavers had a huge impact on myself and my peers as both a teacher and a mentor. His skills in the classroom and unique approach to learning have really helped to prepare me for the way things are in college. With his help, several of his students have written winning essays for the Claiborne Electric Essay Contest, where the winners spend an all-expenses-paid week in our nation's capital. His dedication to his students can also be seen all over the walls of Lakeside High School on posters showing where his students have passed CLEP tests and scored exceptionally well on the ACT.
And the reason why I didn't wait that long on purpose is because I would have done it sooner if it hadn't been. The only reason I was able to do it is because of the advent of online universities. Okay, because I couldn't, have a small child and the responsibilities of these newspapers and companies. I couldn't also go back to school. It just wasn't feasible. Online universities pop up. I get a call. I know a lot of people in the community. I get a call from a teacher friend. She puts in a good word for the principal, and bam, there I am. Why did I want to do it? There was always a call. I told you that my favorite thing was the writing. And even in the end, later on, in the parts I hated, the thing that I enjoyed the most was when I would hire new reporters and they had no idea what they were doing, or they needed help in teaching them the craft, how to write it. It was wonderful. And I started thinking to myself, I wonder what that would be like to do that for a living.
My name is Abigail Reynolds, and I was a student of Mr. Josh Beavers for 2 years at Lakeside High School. When teaching English, he didn't just go over the basics. He went over the top to make sure literature was fun. He showed us respect, and in return, we respected him. And he helped us focus on higher education. And those are just some of the reasons that Josh Beavers should be selected as Louisiana State Teacher of the Year.
I believe Mr. Beavers is an excellent candidate for Teacher of the Year, for not only being an outstanding teacher in the classroom, but just being an overall mentor, One of the things that I really learned and took from his class was be unique, be your own, and don't fit into anybody else's standards. Just true
I love
happiness.
Mr. Beavers for who he is and what he stands for. He is truly a very genuine person that just pours into his students every single day, and they'll never go a day without knowing that he truly cares for them. He's just an awesome teacher all around.
And that's how I got in. That's my story. And now 6 years later, I'm happiest I could ever be. I would have never imagined being happier. I absolutely love coming to work every day. I absolutely love the opportunity, the new students, the bonds I form, being able to help them think critically and teaching them how to write. It's my most passionate thing. Even though I focus so hard on work keys and ACT, still being able to teach someone how to write and see someone progress from slow and weak, to be honest, to proficient and even downright excellent is one of the joys of my life. I absolutely love it. So that's why I teach. And
Miss Clark, you have a phone message in office.
sorry. That's why I teach. And of course, I'm always learning new things every single day. I like to talk to my colleagues at other schools, much of course here at this school, but other schools. I enjoy being able to go to conferences and visit with other teachers. I'm not a huge fan of professional development, but I enjoy going to the conferences. The reason why I'm not a huge fan of professional development is because so many times, now statewide conferences are awesome. I love those. But I'm talking about professional development in my parish, at least. So many times it's just talk and nobody ever does anything. It's just the way it is. But I love talking to people and actually doing something. This is the problem. These are the steps we think that'll fix it, and doing it. Love that. And there's so much about this job that I love and adore, and any little small grievances are nothing. And I wish that other teachers who are grumpy and hate what they do, I wish that other teachers could experience what it's like to be truly miserable at your job. It's all a matter of perspective, it's all a matter of perspective. And I tell my students that, people tell you that the universe does not revolve around you. Well, that's not true. The universe does revolve around you. What I mean by that is that your problems are the most important problems to you. And while somebody else may have worse problems than you in your head, your problems are the worst. And it's very, very important to realize that, to have perspective, to understand. So, yes. See, where am I going with this? Basically, where I'm going with this is I wish that other teachers could have been in my shoes to do something you truly, truly hate and loathe for so long, and then you get to come over and make a real difference in the lives of young people. It's the most wonderful thing. There's no more nobler thing in the world than that. I truly believe it. And I wish everyone could feel that way. Thank you.